Hey there guys, Ectomaster here once again doing another Mr. Pandaria beta look at, well, some more talents and some more glyphs. Basically I'm going to be looking at the Death Knight, starting from the top. We've already done Monk, we've got that out of the way. We're going to do Death Knight. So we've got Zirana here, a weird amalgamation of my current Death Knight. First thing we're going to look at are the three specs. Here we have Blood, which is which has been signified as a tank, a dark guardian who manipulates and corrupts life energy to sustain him or herself in the face of any enemy onslaught. Basically, Death Strike, Rune Tap, Heart Strike, Vampiric Blood, and Dancing Rune Weapon. Frost does damage, and you get Frost Strike, Obliterate, Howling Blast, and Pillar of Frost. And then Unholy, you have Scourge Strike, Shadow Infusion, Festering Strike, and Dark Transformation. Excuse me, gentlemen, I'm talking here. But we're going to stick with Frost because, hey, that's what I know best. Now, let's look into the talents. Now, as Death Knights start at level 55, their first three talents don't come at 15, 30, or 45. It comes at 56, 57, and 58. That is just to accommodate for the fact that they don't get those first three to begin with. So, at level 56 for the Death Knight, you have Roiling Blood, Plague Leech, and Unholy Blight. Now, Roiling Blood, your Blood Boil ability, now also affects Pestilence if it strikes a diseased target. Plague Leech, draw forth the infection from an enemy, consuming your Blood Plague and Frost Fever diseases on the target to activate a random, fully depleted rune as a death rune. And then Unholy Blight surrounds the Death Knight with a vile swarm of unholy insects for 10 seconds, stinging all enemies within 10 yards every 1 second, infecting them with Blood Plague and Frost Fever. Now personally, I like the sound of that. Level 57, you'll get Lichborn, Anti-Magic Zone, and Purgatory. Lichborn is draw upon unholy energy to become undead for 10 seconds. While undead, sleep. You are immune to charm, fear, and sleep effects, and Death Coil will heal you. Anti-Magic Zone places a large stationary anti-magic zone that reduces spell damage done to party or raid members inside it by 75%. The anti-magic zone lasts for 10 seconds or until it absorbs at least 4,720 spell damage. Now, I don't know if that stacks or not because this is a pre-made level 85. Now, Purgatory, an unholy pact, grants you the ability to fight on through damage that will kill mere mortals. When you would sustain fatal damage, you instead are wrapped in a shroud of Purgatory, absorbing incoming healing equal to the amount of damage prevented, lasting 3 seconds. If any healing absorption remains when Shroud of Purgatory expires, you die. Otherwise, you survive. This effect may only occur every 3 minutes. I think I'm just going to go with Lichborn. Yeah. Alright, so level 58, you get Death's Advance, Chillblains, and Asphyxiation. Boy. Bleh. Can't speak today. At Death's Advance, you passively move 10% faster, and movement impairing effects may not reduce you below 70% of normal movement speed. When activated, you gain 30% movement speed and may not be slowed below 100% of normal movement speed for 6 seconds. So it affects your speed. Chillblain, victims of your Frost Fever disease are chilled, reducing movement speed by 50% for 10 seconds. And your Chains of Ice immobilizes targets for 3 seconds. Asphyxiate, it lifts an enemy target off the ground and crushes their throat with dark energy, stunning them for 5 seconds. Functions as a silence if the target is immune to stuns. Replaces Strangulate. I'm going with that one, the third one. Now level 60, you get Death Pact, Death Siphon, and Conversion. Now Death Pact, drain vitality from an undead minion, healing the Death Knight for 50% of his or her maximum health, and causing the minion to suffer damage equal to 50% of its maximum health. Death Siphon, Deal 10,562 Shadow Frost damage to an enemy, healing the Death Knight for 100% of damage dealt. It's not too bad. Conversion continuously converts runic power to health, restoring 3% of maximum health every 1 second. Only base runic power generation from spending runes may occur while conversion is active. This effect lasts until it's cancelled or runic power is exhausted. Kind of like Death Siphon. We'll look into that. Sounds kind of cool. Now at 75, you get Blood Tap, Runic Empowerment, and Runic Corruption. Now Blood Tap, each damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike generates 2 blood charges, up to a maximum of 12 charges. Blood Tap consumes 5 full blood charges to activate random fully depleted rune as a Death Knight. Death rune, yes. You activate, you take the random fully depleted runes as a Death Knight. You get a new Death Knight. Look at that. Fights alongside you. Runic Empowerment, when you land a damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike, you have a 45% chance to activate a random fully depleted rune. And then Runic Corruption, when you land a damaging Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike, you have a 45% chance to activate Runic Corruption, increasing your rune regeneration rate by 100% for 2.77 seconds. I'm going to go with Runic Empowerment. Now, level 90, you have Gorfine's Grasp, Remorseless Winter, and Desecrated Ground. Gorfine's Grasp, shadowy tendrils coil around all enemies within 20 yards of a target, hostile or friendly, pulling them to the target's location. Remorseless Winter surrounds the Death Knight with a swirling tempest of frigid air for 8 seconds, chilling enemies within 8 yards every 1 second. Each pulse reduces target's movement speed by 15% for 3 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Upon receiving a 5th application, an enemy will be stunned for 6 seconds. Desecrated Ground corrupts the ground in an 8-yard radius beneath the Death Knight for 10 seconds. While standing in this corruption, the Death Knight is immune to effects that cause loss of control. This ability instantly removes such effects when activated. And seeing as I am only level 85, I can't select any of the 90s, so I'm not going to worry about that. So there you have it. Those are your Unholy Blight. I remember you so fondly.
I don't have a target.
Yeah, sorry. Alright, now that I've looked at that for just a moment, we're going to take a look at the glyphs. And just like with the monk, all of the specific runes for specific specs are labeled. As you can see, the Dancing Rune Weapon one right there is labeled for blood. So we'll look at the major glyphs first. Anti-Magic Shell causes your Anti-Magic Shell to absorb all incoming magical damage up to the absorption limit. Chains of Ice. Your Chains of Ice also causes 150 frost damage with additional damage depending on your attack power. Dancing Rune Weapon, of course, is for blood, increases your threat generation by 100% while your Dancing Rune Weapon is active, but reduces its damage dealt by 25%. Dark Simulacrum, I could never say that, reduces the cooldown of Dark whatever by 30 seconds and increases its duration by 4 seconds. Not bad, I kind of like that. Dark Succor. Yes, Succor. When you kill an enemy that yields experience or honor while in Frost or Unholy Presence, your next Death Strike will, within 15 seconds, is free and will restore at least 20% of your maximum health. That's nice until you get to level 90. Unless you PvP. That's a good PvP one. Now, Glyph of Death and Decay. Your Death and Decay also reduces the movement speed of enemies within its radius by 50%. Death Coil. Your Death Coil spell is now usable on all allies. When cast on a non-undead ally, Death Coil shrouds them with a protective barrier that absorbs up to 4,939 damage. Scroll down just a little bit here. Bring Death Grip up to the top. Now the Glyph of Death Grip increases the range of your Death Grip ability by 5 yards. Enduring Infection, your diseases are undispellable, but their damage dealt is reduced by 30%. Icebound Fortitude reduces the cooldown of your Icebound Fortitude by 50%, but also it reduces its duration by 75%. Your Icy Touch dispels one helpful magic effect from the target. Mind Freeze reduces the cooldown of your Mind Freeze ability by 2 seconds, but also raises its cost by 20 runic power. Your Outbreak spell no longer has a cooldown, but now costs 40 runic power. That is Outbreak, of course. Pestilence increases the radius of your Pestilence effect by 5 yards. Bring Pillar of Frost up. Pillar of Frost empowers your Pillar of Frost, making you immune to all effects that cause loss of control of your character, but also freezing you in a place while the ability is active. I can vouch as somebody who used Pillar of Frost Glyph, it's kind of crappy at some points. I'd forget that I would have it, and I would just be standing there going, crap, I need to move, and I can't. Shifting presences, you retain 70% of your runic power when shifting presences. Strangulate increases the silence duration by your Strangulate ability by 2 seconds when used on a target who is casting a spell. Unholy Command immediately finishes the cooldown of your Death Grip upon dealing a killing blow to a target that grants experience or honor. Again, a nice one for PvP, not so much for PvE after 9, by the time you hit 90. Unholy Frenzy causes your Unholy Frenzy to no longer deal damage to the affected target. And Vampiric Blood increases the bonus healing received by an additional 15%, but your Vampiric Blood no longer grants you health. So those are your major glyphs. We're going to move on to the minors. Doesn't look like too much, but starting with Army of the Dead. The ghouls summoned by your Army of the Dead no longer taunt their target, which is nice. If, especially like in a raid, you just call Army of the Dead, put them out there, and they just go, rah, rah. Corpse Explosion teaches the ability Corpse Explosion. For those of you who have never seen Corpse Explosion, it is freaking fantastic. Deathgate reduces the cast time of your Deathgate Deathgate spell by 60%, which is alright if you need to get back to here, Akaros. Now, Death's Embrace, your Death Coil refunds 20 runic power when used to heal an allied minion. Foul Menagerie causes your Army of the Dead spell to summon an assortment of undead minions. Ooh, that kind of sounds cool. I now want to see that. I'm going to have to show that to you. Geist, your Raise Dead spell summons a Geist instead of a ghoul. Horn of Winter, when used outside of combat, your Horn of Winter ability causes a brief localized snow flurry. Alright, I'm going to have to see that. Path of Frost, your Path of Frost ability allows you to fall from a greater distance without suffering damage. Resilient Grip, when your Death Grip ability fails because the target is immune, its cooldown is reset. And then Tranquil Grip, your Death Grip spell no longer taunts the target. Alright, so I'm going to have to see this, I'm going to have to show you some of these things now. Corpse Explosion isn't going to work until I kill something. I may go kill something to show you. And then, where's Horn of Winter? So, Horn of Winter. Ah, look, it's snowing. Can I move? Does it move with me? It does move with me. Look at that. And it's over. Alright, so we're going to go... I'm going to do the Army of Dead here. In a minute. First, I'm gonna go find something to kill, and then we will...
You need something.
Yes, I want this, because why not?
Ashes to ashes.
No, bag. There we go, now I know a new spell. Where is it? Winged Steed of the Ebon Blade. Whee! Alright, we're gonna go right over in here. Find something. Show you a Corpse Explosion. I had so much fun when I got into the Wrath of the Lich King beta. I had Corpse Explosion. I thought it was the funniest thing in the whole world. And then they got rid of it. They got rid of that, and there was an ability that would allow you to become... I can't kill that. Well, basically you would die and then re-raise yourself, and you would become a... Can I kill it? I can. Alright, so Crypt's explosion. Kaboom! That's it. That's all it does. Kind of get the scale on it. One. Kaboom! There it goes. Now, last thing I wanted to see was Army of the Dead. Holy crap, look at what I got. That is awesome. That is freaking amazing. Oh yeah. I'll see you guys next time.